Okay. All right. Okay. So are we? Is it required introduction for my introduction?
Okay.
My self introduction.
Yeah.
Is it required?
Sorry.
No, no, no. My introduction is required.
Yeah, you can give.
On giving an experience. Okay. Yes. So yes, hi. Myself is Srino. So I'm having 6 years of experience in clinical SAS programming, and not only a trainer, so I'm also working as a clinical SAS programmer. And simultaneously, I have been giving SAS training for those people like in the clinical, especially in clinical SAS training. So now I'm going to give a clear picture about SAS training, clinical SAS training. So how exactly it works in clinical in the clinical sector, in the clinical companies. So just let me introduce the software. So this is the SAS software. Okay, so it's look like this, and I'll come later. So what is this structure, and how can you give a code? So we'll see. I'll explain this later. So before that, so I have a PPT here. So I just want to give some introduction about SAS. Okay. So SAS is nothing but statistical analysis software. So the abbreviation of SAS is nothing but statistical analysis system or a software. So which is developed by SAS Institute in North Carolina University, it is in the United States in 1976. So they implemented SAS software in North Carolina University. So it has started as a project to analyze the agricultural data which is collected through. So what is the main purpose of SAS is nothing but just simply the name itself indicates. See here, statistical analysis system. So it means we are doing some analysis using this tool. So we can simply say SAS is nothing but it's a reporting tool. So we will do some analysis and we'll generate some reports. We'll do some analysis and we'll generate some reports. So what type of reports you generate and what type of data you are going to deal with. So I will explain each and every point. Yes. So in the early years 1970. So SAS is developed only for agricultural data analysis, but after 1970, so they have implemented some features, they have implemented some components to our SAS software. So now you can able to perform different types of tasks like data entry, data retrieval, data management, report writing, creating different charts, statistical, mathematical analysis, decision support, application development, etc., etc. So when SAS is developed, so it can be used only for analysis, data analysis. But after some years, for 1970, so they also implemented some advanced features to SAS software, so that you can easily perform different types of tasks like data entry. You can create some data tables, and you can retrieve the data from different kind of data sources. Like you can get the data from Notepad or Excel files, CSV files. Even you can also get the data from Oracle database, different type of database, not only Oracle. So it depends on company. So like Oracle database or DB2, Sybase, Informix, Teradata. So whatever database you're using, so you can easily. So that is why SAS we can also call that. It can be. So you can also call SAS is nothing but multi-data architecture. So multi-database architecture. So it means we can get the data from any kind of data source. So we can get data from different kind of data sources. That is different. The data management. So after getting the data into SAS application, if you want to perform some manipulation, like if you want to perform some transformations, if you want to do some edit, if you want to if you want to edit the data, so you can edit, so that you can get some meaningful data. So I will show you, no problem. I will show you with examples. So how you are going to get the data from data source, from different data sources into SAS, and what type of management, what type of transformation you perform here. So I will give you the examples, no problem. They have that report writing. So using SAS software, you can also generate some reports. So it's report writing and creating different types of charts. So if sometimes your client will ask you to generate some graphs. So he wants you to generate some reports in the form of graphs, not in the reporting files like a PDF, HTML, audio. So these are the reporting files. These are the different types of reporting format files. So sometimes it will split the same report in this format, some graphs. But we have the future in SAS software, so you can also generate some graphs. And statistical mathematical analysis. So we are using SAS software only for data analysis. Remember that. So we are using only SAS software for only data analysis. So statistical and mathematical analysis means they have they are predefined some statistical techniques. So using those techniques, you can generate some statistical reports. Okay, so now go to the next slide. Okay, and before that, so what is eligibility criteria for SAS? Who can learn SAS software? So I can tell you one thing. The people who really interested to learn some statistics, who really want to do some data analysis, they can learn SAS software. But after learning SAS software, so you can work in different industries like clinical industry or banking industry or finance or retail marketing or different industries. So because of these advanced statistical techniques, so they can generate some different types of reports using SAS software. So that is why nowadays SAS is being used by different industries, multiple industries, various industries like clinical industries, pharmaceutical companies, banking industry. Nowadays they are using SAS. So after learning this SAS software, suppose if you want to work in clinical side, so what is the eligibility criteria for that? Then if you want to work in banking sector, then what is eligibility criteria for that? So for that I divided into two categories, that is license background and non-license background. So license background is nothing but where these people will come, like graduates in microbiology, biotech, pharmacy, BSc or MSc chemistry. So these people comes under license background because they know the terminology in clinical. They understand. They can easily understand the clinical data. The data is related to your life, like some drugs information. They can easily understand that. But so due to the terminology problem, so I divided into two categories. One is license background and one is non-license background. So when these people, after learning this SAS software, so they can work in clinical research companies, some hospitals, pharmaceutical companies, some insurance companies. So they are going to deal with some clinical trial data, especially in pharmaceutical companies. So again, I will tell you. So suppose if you are from clinical, suppose if you are from life science background, so what type of data you will get? So from where you will get the data? So I will tell you each and everything. No need to worry. Just understand the concept. So here I divide into two categories. One is life science and one is non-life science background. So whereas in life science background, so these people will come center. And just coming to the non-life science background. So like people like BA, MBA economics, Bachelor of Arts, BTech or MTech, MBA, MCA, BCom and MCom. So these people comes under non-life science background. So after learning this SAS software, so they can work in banking sector or finance sector or insurance sector or retail marketing. So why can't we work in clinical side, in clinical companies? Yes, that is true, because you cannot work. I cannot say that you cannot work, but you can work. But when you be familiar with, if you know the terminology in clinical trial, if you're able to understand the clinical trial data, so you can easily work in clinical side also. But people don't aware of that. Don't aware of some terminology. So due to the terminology problems, they are not going to work in clinical trial. So if you are very good at clinical trial terminology, so you can easily work. You can easily work anywhere in clinical companies or banking companies. So let's talk about some clinical trial data. Just what type of data will be there in the clinical trial. So what type of terminology will be there. So is it difficult to understand these people? Is it very difficult to understand these people, the clinical trial data? So I will give you some points. So in this clinical company, especially, they are using SAS software to publish some clinical trial data in different types of reports. So in banking companies, so it's the same way. So again, they are going to generate some banking data reports. Okay. So while generating any reports, while generating any banking reports, so it's very mandated to understand the data first. So it's very important to understand the data. So if you're not able to understand the data, then you are not going to, then you are not going to give a decision for your client. So science is nothing but it's a power of it's a power to know actually. So that is the slogan for SAS. It means, so using the SAS software, you definitely will generate some reports. So as per your reports, your client will take decision making. Your client will take decision. So if your reports are not having, if your reports are not having quality or in some other things, so it's not going to work. So first you need to understand the data. Once you understand the data, then you can go and generate some reports. So that is why it's very important to understand the data first. And when coming to this third category, BSS statistics and MSS statistics, so these people can work in any industry, in clinical or in banking. So why? Because so these people will generate will prepare some documents. So even they can also generate some reports using this as SAS programmer, but the initial thing is, so they generate they prepare some documents. So what are these documents which are prepared by these people, See, as a clinical SAS, suppose now you are in a clinical company, now you got some task today. So if you want to generate that report, you need to take some documents, you need to follow some documents. So those documents will be prepared by these people, BSc or MSc statistics. So that is why these people are required in industry. So wherever you are using SAS software, so these people will be there by default. Okay. So I'm going to the next slide. Okay. So suppose now I will put my discussion on this one. So life science background, so clinical companies, how they are using SAS software. So what is the purpose of using SAS software? So why this is required? So first I will tell you. So why they are using SAS software in clinical companies? So because in the market, so there are different types of reporting tools like SAP, Hadoop. So there are different types of Informatica is also there. So why especially you are using SAS software? So is it mandatory using SAS software in clinical companies? So I will tell you some points here. Okay. So most of the pharmaceutical companies, what they are doing nowadays, so they want to sell the drugs, they want to sell the new drugs in the market. So, or sometimes they want to introduce a new drug molecule into the market. So they cannot directly introduce the market. They cannot directly introduce the drug in the market because they have to get some approval from some authorities, like some government bodies are there, FDA, Food and Drug Administration. So they have to get approval from FDA, Food and Drug Administration. So how they will get approval from FDA? Because FDA won't give approval to all people who are conducting clinical trials, because there are some they are having some rules and regulations. Okay, so if you really want to sell your new drug, or if you want to if you want to introduce a new drug molecule into the market, So first, just go and conduct some clinical trials. Then, if your data is, if your reports are having, if your reports with the safety, if your reports are having safety, then they will give you approval. Otherwise, no. Okay. So that is why people start conducting clinical trials, and they record some information of the clinical trial data, and after that they will generate some reports and submit to the FDA. Then if FDA feels satisfied, then they will get an approval. Otherwise, no. So they will get some registration or approval for the new drug, so just to be introduced into the market. So this is the main process actually. So now they want to do some, as of now, what I said, we are using SAS software for the data analysis. So what type of analysis you do in the clinical trials, in this process, in the clinical companies? So see here, I will tell you some in the clinical trial process. So how we will get the data, from where you will get the data exactly. Okay, so where we are going to involve as a clinical SAS programmer. See here, I will give you some introduction here. So this is the clinical trials in a nutshell. So what is a total process of clinical trials? So what is the use of conducting clinical trials? Again, the question is, because we want to introduce a new drug molecule into the market. So we want to introduce a new drug molecule into the market. So that is why FDA asked to conduct the clinical trials. Clinical trials are nothing but testing of drugs and human beings. So there is nothing but clinical trial. But before testing of drug and human beings, you have to test it in laboratory using some animals. So if you feel satisfied if you feel okay with that animals, then you can go for clinical trials. So this is the clinical trial process. Now we are not going to take any animals here, because this is the clinical trial process. This is not pre-clinical trial. So here I will take some patients here. I will recruit some patients and I will conduct the clinical trial. So before that, first I'll come from this. Okay. So this is the entire process. See, my process is starting with this document. First document. It's looking like my document here. That is protocol. All right. So why protocol is required? So what is the protocol? Protocol is nothing but method of preparation. The principles they follow some principles. It means I'll give a simple example. So if you want to construct a new building, so you have to get a plan from your engineer, right? So the same way, if you want to conduct a clinical trial process, then you have to get one up. Then you have to follow some documents. So the document is none other than protocol. So first you have to prepare the protocol. Then in this protocol you just make sure that you have to give details of your study. So which study you are going to conduct, and how many patients you need to take into the study, and how many what type of subjects you want, what type of patients you want to take into the study, and what are the age groups required, and what you want from the patient. So what should be the characteristics of the patient. So everything as mentioned in the protocol. And once you prepare the protocol, again you have to send it to some government authority, like some review boards. Like there are two bodies are there. So one is IEC, Institutional Ethics Committee, and you have to get approval from these two organizations. Then once you get approval from this organization, then you can go for investigator selection. So the investigator selection is that this is nothing but you have a protocol with you. Now, if you want to start a clinical trial, then who is going to conduct a clinical trial? So here, investigator is required. Investigator is nothing but doctor. So because doctor only, he knows that how to take care of patients. So we have to select investigator, but when we are selecting the investigator, we have to make sure that your investigator should be qualified in the particular study. He should train you should have trained by education, and you should have some experience in particular study which study are going to conduct. Just now I said, suppose if you take one study like diabetes or cancer, whatever study, so your investigator should be aware of that particular study, that particular disease, so that he can take care of the patients. So selection of investigator is also required here. Then once you select the investigator, then you have to go for again approval process. So once you get the approval process here, then you will start recruiting the patients here. So you will start to recruit patients. So how many patients you have to take? So everything will be mentioned in the protocol. So as per the protocol, you are going to select your patients into study. Once you recruit the patients, directly you are not going to allow them to study directly, because you have to test them again. So you have to screen them again. So again, the screening process. So some patients may get rejected, and some patients get accepted. So this acceptance will be depends on your totally depends on your protocol only, because in the protocol you clearly mention that. So these requirements I want, these characteristics I want from the patient. So as per your protocol, you have to screen the patients. So if subject is not, if he is not passed in your screening test, then he will be rejected from your study. So you have to screen them first. So the patients who qualified in screening test, so they are going to involve into the study. So before that, again they have to sign some documents like informed consent form. So they have to sign. So that is nothing but they are ready to go with some the drug test. And if the patient dies, so this is their own risk actually. So no one is going to take the responsibility, because that's why they are in some sign on the informed consent form. Okay, so once this process is completed, then they will capture the data from the patients. So in this stage, actually, there are different phases are there. So how now once subject enrolled into the study, so there are 4 phases are there: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4. So in the phase 1, we'll estimate the safety. So in the phase 2, we'll estimate the safety and efficacy. In third stage also we'll estimate the efficacy. And in the phase 4, so that is post-marketing drugs. So again we have to do some minute tests on particular drug. So these 4 phases information we have to capture into some data files. So see here in this file, in this picture, so you have to enter the data into some files like generally in this process here CDM department will enroll here. So CDM department will take care of this data entry process. So CDM people are clinical data management. So they will enter the data into some hard copies. Hard copies are the CRF form, case reporting forms. So they will capture the data into CRF form again. So from the clinical trial phases, CDM people will enter the data into CRF forms. CRF form is nothing but case reporting form. It's like a hard copy. So we have to capture the data. So what is the subject ID, what is his age, what is the gender of the patient. So everything we have to mention in this CRF form. So once you enter the data into CRF form, again you have to convert. This is CRF is nothing but it's a hard copy. So we have to convert this data from the hard copy into soft copy. Nothing but we have to convert into some electronic data. Nothing but some Excel files or some CSV files or Notepad. inside the database. So once they enter data into CRF form, they should enter the data from the CRF to again some Excel file or some databases. So once they enter the database, all phase 4 information from phase 1 to phase 4. So they enter the data, whole data into database. So when they enter whole data into database, the database will get locked. So it get locked. So once your database is now it's locked actually. So from this database, here SAS programmer is required because he has to generate some reports. So how many patients are there, and during the study, is there any patient? How many of them getting side effects? Okay. So what is the relationship of the side effects, like is it mild or moderate or severe? So to understand this data, so SAS programmer is required. So you will do some analysis on the clinical trial data, which is entered into the database. So he will capture the data from, he will get the data from the database into SAS application, and he will do some manipulation. If manipulation is required, he will do some manipulation. Then he will do some. Then he will go for. Then he analyze the data. So main part is data analysis. So here. So finally, our data is there here, so in the database. So finally, our data is in the database. So as a clinical SAS programmer, so first what we have to do is, so we have 4 functionals actually here. As a clinical SAS programmer, you have to perform these 4 functionalities every day. One is data access, one is data manipulation, one is data analysis, and one is data presentation. Okay, so it's just no need to worry about this process from here when you are getting the data into the database. So as of now, this is not your work. So this process will be these data entering or data validation or data cleaning. These people will take care of this. CDM people, clinical data management people. So once they enter the data in a database, then you have to involve here. From the next stage, you have to involve into the study. So as a clinical SAS programmer, what is your primary functionality? The primary functionality is that data access. So we have a data in the database, not in the SAS application. So you have to get the data from the database into SAS application. Then after imported your data into SAS application, so you have to perform data manipulation. Data manipulation is nothing but sometimes you will get the raw data, totally raw data, nothing but non-standard data in the given database. So if you want to make it some meaningful data, so you have to perform some manipulations. I will tell you how it will be, what type of manipulation you are going to perform. So I have example also. I will show you with the examples. That is data manipulation. The next one is data analysis. So this is a very important because we are using the SAS software only for this. This is our main objective, data analysis. So what I want to do is I want to do some patient data, some patient analysis, like how many patients involved. So what are the number, n value, some statistics information I want here. So what is the n value, total number of subjects, total number of patients who involved in the study, who have taken the drug dose, and I want to find out mean, standard deviation, frequency. If you want to calculate percentage, sometimes you need to calculate percentage also. So these statistics I want, so that I can easily understand. Okay, so these people have enrolled into my study and they have got these side effects. Even if you want to understand side effects also, okay, find out how many side effects you have observed in the study. So so few of them they got adverse event like nausea, rashes, headache, fever. So now you have to understand, if you want to understand patient data, so you have to generate some reports with side effects information, so that you can easily understand. Okay, so these people have they have got these side effects, and these people have not got these side effects. So this you can easily understand, right? So that is the data analysis. So in the data presentation, this is the last stage. This is the final stage, data presentation. So after getting your analysis information, now you have to send it to your client. You have to send it to your the final output into the final output to your customer. So as per your client request, so as per your customer requirement, suppose in this SAS application, you will get the output in different format, but your customer, he will expect that report in some other formats. Like suppose if you get, suppose here you will get output in let's say HTML format, but your client is asking in a PDF format. So as per the client requirement, you have to convert into client expected formats like RTF, PDF, Excel, HTML, whatever requirement, whatever the expected format. So as per your client request, so you have to convert into expected formats. So that's nothing but data presentation. Data presentation is nothing but how you are going to present your end report, final report. So that is the data presentation. Just simply remember that. So this is not required for you, but if you understand this concept, so from where you will get the data, and what type of data you are getting, so what are these patients, what is this investigator, so you can easily understand this information about this. But once you learn, once you completed your SAS training, then if you get any opportunity in clinical companies, so then what you are going to do? So what would be your roles and responsibilities? The first one is data access, data manipulation, data analysis, data presentation. So these are the 4 functionalities you have to perform for every task. Alright. So this is nothing but they have to prepare some, generally we can say TLFs. Every clinical SAS programmer, what have to do is he has to prepare some TLFs, tables, listings, and graphs. Figures, you can say, or sometimes we can call it as graphs also. But see, in any stage, even if you want to create a table, but first you have to get the data access compulsory. But in that, so when you get the data from the database, your data is totally non-standard data. It's looking like raw data. So you have to do some manipulation to get some meaningful data. So data manipulation is required. So in the table, what do you want to find out? So if you want to perform any analysis, you have to go for data analysis. Then after generating your table, so in which format it should be delivered. So data presentation. So in every stage, these 4 functions are very, very important. Okay. Now I'm going with some examples. One example. If you observe here, today I got a task from my team leader. So my task is, I have to generate one adverse event report using this SAS software. Alright. So first what I said, if you want to generate any report, first you have to get the data from the database or any given file. So let's say my data is not in the notepad or not in the Excel file. So for example purpose, I entered the data in SAS itself using this simple program. So here I want to create one new table called DS. So I have a data here, some patient information. So I have a subject ID, site ID, age, sex, and some adverse events. So during my study, so they have got these adverse events. Some patient, some subject ID, he got this he has got this upwards nausea. So 102 he got fever, 103 rashes, 104 pain, 105 headache, 106 fever. So like this, so few of them got fever and few of them got rashes. So there are different adverse events are there. So my report is I want what I want is I want to generate some reports with the frequency. So how many times you got fever? So how many patients they have got fever? So that is my requirement. So that is my output. See, so first access, the first functionality is nothing but data access. So you have to get the data. So here, I don't have data in the notepad, but I have data in the data lines. So here I specified my data lines, my data source, where it is exactly. So I specified the address of the file. So in the data lines. Now it takes the data into and creates data set. Sorry, not data set, it's a table. Right. So it creates one new table now. My table name is nothing but DS table. Even if you observe here, so you can easily understand this is your table. And when you create your program, so this is your program. Just select your program, and if you want to submit your program for the execution, so you have one symbol here, running by symbol. So when you click on this symbol, your program will be executed. So once your program will successfully executed means it creates your tables in the SAS library, in the SAS application. So in SAS application, where exactly your tables will get created? See here, if you observe in this contents of SAS environment, you have one icon called libraries. So when you open this library, you can see some predefined libraries are there. So these are, you can say, these are called libraries. So generally, libraries contains tables, your tables. So once you create a table, so by default, your table will be created in this library. Though you have a different libraries here, but it goes to only work library because work is your temporary library. Whenever you create a table, then automatically your table will be generated in the work library. Okay. So this is your table. If you open this table, so whatever data you entered here, you entered the data lines. So those data will be saved into this table because with the help of input statement. So this nothing but we are giving input to read the data. So successfully you have read the data into this table. So now we have got this data. I think there are 5 columns are there and 10 rows are there. Okay. And now the second one is, okay, successfully I got the data into SAS application. It is nothing but I have successfully imported the data. The next one is data manipulation. So just now I said, so you have to perform, sometimes you have to perform some data manipulation because sometimes it will give you some non-standard data. So you have to convert it to some meaningful data. See here, suppose sometimes it will give you here we have one variable called, one column called sex. This sex contains 2 values, one is f and one is m. So sometimes, in worst case, sometimes he will give you like some internal values. He will give you some internal values. Internal values are nothing but numbers, 1 and 2. So in the raw data he will give you with 1 and 2, but in the output what you want is, if 1 is there, you should convert into female. If 2 is there, you have to make it as a male. So he will give you like that. So as per his requirement, you have to perform some data manipulation here, so that you will get some meaningful data. So this is one kind of data manipulation. See here exactly what I am doing here. So we have a table here with the name of DS. So using this table, you have to create a new table, DS1, with this expression, with this requirement. So what my requirement is, in this particular DS table, I have one column called sex. So here I have some values like F and M. I will convert them like F as female, M as male. So that is my requirement. So this is your simple program. So when you execute this program, you will get See here. So you have a table, you have created a new table called DS1. So it contains, again, same five, whatever data is there in the DS data set,
Hello,
the
Sriram.
same data.
Yeah, Sriram.
Oh my God.
Hello.
Abhinav.
Yeah.
Yeah, Abhinav.
Okay, Sriram. Is it okay demo? No need to just explain all the things. Yeah.
Okay.
Your demo is okay, Sriram. I will forward your demo to our MD. Total the details
Alright.
regarding the commercials he will speak with you. Okay. I will
Alright,
forward.
alright, alright.
He may call you on.
Abhinav, I scared actually.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
what
Okay.
will
Fine,
you?
Sriram. Not a problem in that. It is very good. Okay.
Yeah, alright. So actually, with this, see here, I prepared some folders actually.
Okay.
And one more thing, Abhinav, I need to say one more thing here.
Yeah. Tell me,
So
Sriram.
actually, I have a batch now. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So, uh,
Yeah. Tell me your comfortable timing, Sriram. Not a
so
problem.
actually, one batch is going on actually. So presently, one batch is going in the morning, 7:30.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Okay.
7:30. Okay, not a problem.
So morning I cannot take any batches. Okay.
Yeah, I will mention. It will be, I think so, it is around 5 to 6 or it may be 6 to 7 maximum. The classes will be morning timings.
Okay.
Uh, I will
So
mention.
these are the students actually. And one more thing is, I need to say one more thing here
Yeah.
before going to start, before going to associate with you. Uh, I follow some ethics actually. Okay.
Okay, tell me, Sriram.
I follow some ethics.
Okay.
Okay. So whatever you're going to promise with the students, okay. So please make sure that you should have all this, no. So, but my responsibility is that I will give you software, SAS software, okay.
Okay. Okay.
So I will give you the material,
Okay.
everything, okay, with the clinical project also. I will give you the material and everything.
Okay.
But what I will expect from the student is every day after my session, I will give a task actually for everyone.
Yeah, sure.
Everyone,
That is a good
they
thing.
have to submit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
they
is
have to
a good
submit.
thing. Yes.
Yeah, they have to submit me back my task. See here, I have a full few students here.
Okay, no problem. No
Please,
problem, Sriram. No problem. Not a problem in that. Okay, what you're telling is okay. I will mention
yeah,
student regarding this also. Not a problem.
yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
and yeah, so that's it. I just want to say
Okay,
this one.
fine,
This
Sriram.
is very important. Okay,
Yeah, okay,
because
okay.
I want if you people actually see. I have 6 years of experience in this
Okay.
field.
Okay.
So people are doing some cheating actually with the
Yeah, yeah.
student. So I really don't like that. Okay.
Okay,
So
Sriram.
whatever you do, just discuss with your faculty.
Okay.
Okay. So whether he is able to give the documents or not. Okay. So
Okay.
then you can move.
Yeah, whatever the
Move.
problem you have, you can contact me, Sriram. Sriram. Not a problem in that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I will tell the total details. Not a problem in that. Okay.
Sure. Sure.
If you
Sure.
have any problem also, you can contact me. You can call me and you
Yeah.
tell, may I speak to Abhinav? You tell, I will speak with you. If you have any
Yeah.
issue, you can talk with me. Not a problem in that.
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. Sure. Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Fine,
Sorry,
Sriram.
actually, I don't know. Actually, today I was not in good mood. Actually, so actually, I just want to say that I want to cancel the demo actually
Yeah.
today.
Yeah. Why? Because Sriram, we are
So
looking very urgent. There is an urgent requirement.
okay, okay, yes, I know. Especially I think if students are from US.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So I also worked as a corporate AI for US companies,
Okay. Okay.
and I give process support also. That is different story. Okay,
That was the main thing I
process
want to ask
support.
you. One thing. That's the
Yeah,
regard.
yeah, yeah. I give that. I give that. There is one company called AnyPlanet. So I have given a project also.
Yeah, yeah. I want to ask that
So,
question also. That's what I'm looking for to ask that regarding the project support.
yeah, that is a different story. That is a different figures and that is different structures. And we will discuss this later. Okay. So let
Yeah,
us start with the students.
sure, Sriram.
Then
Okay.
we'll
Okay.
discuss. Right?
Okay, Sriram. Thank you.
Okay, then Abhinav.
Okay, so
Bye.
thank you, Sriram. Nice job.